Let's turn back to immigration because it is a hot-button issue in this midterm election. President Trump has rolled out some very controversial comments, like his vow to end birthright citizenship for people born to immigrants in the U.S. For more perspective, let's bring in former Assistant U.S. Attorney David Katz. He joins us live from Los Angeles. David, thanks so much for joining us. Great to see you. Can you clarify once and for all whether or not President Trump can eliminate birthright citizenship with an executive order?
Not Trump, and no president can change a constitutional provision by an executive order. A constitutional provision like the 14th Amendment, which has been with us for over 200 years, can't even be changed by a statute. On top of that, the language in the 14th Amendment that gives so-called birthright citizenship has been also memorialized in a statute. So one of the suggestions is that the Congress could try to change that statute, and then there would be a court case. But there wouldn't even be an interesting court case if Trump tried to change it with an executive order. That would be a non-starter. The Speaker of the House, Ryan, said that didn't make any sense. And it just doesn't make any sense. That was just electioneering, campaigning a couple of days before the election to get out the base. There are no serious lawyers, in my opinion, who support that can be so. It's just black letter law that you cannot change the Constitution by an executive order. We have no Constitution that would mean a thing otherwise, would we?
Right, indeed. And do you happen to know if he even consulted the lawyers in the White House before saying this?
I suspect that they told him that it was a non-starter. It might have been a spontaneous thing at one of the rallies. You know, he was getting going and he got way ahead of the law. But that's not a serious legal issue. Just like having the Border Patrol shoot at people because they merely picked up a stone, that would be murder. That would be a violation of civil rights. That would land a Border Patrol officer in federal prison. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I've won jury trials. I could not win that jury trial if a Border Patrol officer just picked up his gun and used deadly force against a member of the caravan or anybody trying to cross the border merely because the person picked up a rock or threw a rock in some direction. That's not serious. And in fact, the president recanted that, I think, within 24 hours of making that outrageous suggestion.
We saw him walking back that comment yesterday. Let's talk about the border and the migrants in the caravan. Many of them are from Honduras, and they say that they are fleeing political violence. If and when they get to the border, what are their options?
Well, many of them don't argue asylum. There's only a small percentage of people seeking to enter the United States who say, I have a valid asylum claim. A valid asylum claim is that there's a credible threat of political or religious persecution, also being in a particular social group. Now, what they claim is that the Attorney General entered a case and said that a woman who was so scared of violence in her country, violence at the hands of her husband and violence at the hands of her brother-in-law, who was a police officer in Honduras, she was so terrified she left her 3 children. Imagine a mother leaving her 3 children and fleeing here in terror. He said that she did not have even a colorable asylum claim, and the Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions, entered that case officially and said that she did not have a valid claim on those facts, could not win. And that is now supposedly immigration law. That's what Border Patrol agents are being told as a way to discourage people from even making asylum claims. But most asylum claims are turned down. Most are rejected. We have a wonderful court system in America that evaluates them. We have a rule of law. We have judges decide things, not the Border Patrol agent that you happen to walk up to. If you walk up to a Border Patrol agent and you make a credible claim of asylum, fear of persecution, you are supposed to be adjudicated in the courts. Now, you may be held in detention. There's a lot of good arguments that the person should be in detention unless there's some reason why they shouldn't be in detention. And the problem with the kids is that there's a settlement with the federal government that a child cannot be held for over 20 days. That's the law of the land. That is why when President Trump had those kids put in cages and separated from their parents, why that was such a big deal. It not only violated morality, that's very nice. I'm a lawyer. So a lot of things violate my sense of morality, but it violated the law because you can't hold the child for more than 20 days. That's why the judge ruled they had to be reunified. Now the threat is to put them into tent cities so they're reunified, but in a tent prison out in the middle of the desert in the style that Sheriff Arpaio, who got the pardon, that style that he made so famous.
That's an ongoing issue right now because many children still have been separated, continue to be separated from their parents. David Katz, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.